Relax and get loose while I put you up on game. The Figure Booth with Josh and Nate. This that podcast folk. Those in the know. Batman vs. Iron Man. How would it go? We talking one of a kind. Collectibles. Mezco toys are respectable. It's unacceptable if it's not in the packaging. Nate don't take pics if you ain't rapping it. Nate's dirty tricks are always happening. But damn it, man. Don't you be stressing. Round here we believe in plastic confessions. We trying to figure out the figures that's gonna stand the test of time. That G.I. Joe handmade hit me in the spine. There's perfection in the way that these toys are made. But I also wanna know, do I pick Wade or Slade? So this is where I come to kick it with the guys. The Figure Booth. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Hello and welcome to the Figure Booth here on this channel where we talk about being a modern day collector and the ups and downs that we go through. We go over our pre-orders, our plastic confessions, and from time to time we do interviews with those in the toy community. My name is Josh, aka Prime to the First, and I'm joined by my friend and co-host Nate.
Hey guys, this is Nate, aka FigureFan_Nate, and you've reached episode 72, which we're calling It's Bro Time.
Oh, it's bro time, bro. Like, we need to go, bro. Go, bro.
Yeah, we need to go talk about our bro.
So, are we having topics? Are we having a guest?
This is
I'm
a
on
guest.
the edge of my seat.
It's been
guest.
Yeah, we've done a few episodes without a guest. Our last one was 1/6 shooter, so we figured it was time to have a new one, and we wanted to start strong for 2023.
Yes, let's bring somebody into the booth that's never been to the booth before, because rumors are that we're not even in a booth. So that's just weird.
The non-booth Figure Booth. Let's go ahead and enter him into our non-booth with ToyBro.
Hey, welcome to the Figure Booth.
What's up, guys?
What is
What's
up,
up, Jared?
dude?
It's
great
going.
to have you
How
on.
Doing?
Doing well. It's great to have you. It makes it a better day. We've been, me and Prime have been longtime fans, from YouTube. We're big followers of your content. For anybody not aware, ToyBro is one of the well-known toy reviewers out on YouTube, on Instagram. Very consistent in his videos. He does a lot of different lines, figures. He just recently posted his top 10 of 2022. If for some reason you've been living under a rock and you have not found Jared's channel yet, you need to go subscribe to him. Great YouTuber, great toy reviewer. I really appreciate your insight. And, one thing I've appreciated about you, Jared, is that you're very informative in your reviews. Like, you provide a lot of extra information along with talking about the figure and all of that. So that's one of those things that always brings me back to your channel. Like, what am I going to learn from Jared about this character that I might not know anything about?
I like to think I know what I'm talking about sometimes, for better or worse. I like to think that anyway. So
right. I mean, your description is very straight to the point on YouTube. I like toys, so here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
So I would expect that ToyBro would be an expert at toys, and you are. So we appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, you started on YouTube a long time ago, right? Back in 2017.
2017.
It's crazy. We're almost at 6 years now. Well, yeah, you're probably close to 6 years because you're around January of 2017.
Yeah, in like a week or so, maybe something like that.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, and up to 6 million views, 6.1 million,
which I guess
incredible.
Is good. I guess it's good. I don't know. If you're
comparing to us, that's really good.
I try not to compare it to anybody because I'll find somebody that has that in one video, and it's like, well, this is nothing. That's 6 years of my life. But yeah,
right. Yeah, but it's a way for you to kind of express your passion, right? Like, is that?
I mean, that's literally the whole. That was the whole start of it.
Okay, you're just like, I'm gonna make some toy reviews.
I maintain that I started it because my wife suggested I do it, and I'm pretty sure she said I should do it just so I would stop talking to her about all this stuff that she doesn't care about.
Right.
If that was the plan, it worked, and I'm quite certain that was part of it. Was that she just didn't want to hear it anymore? So.
Yeah, I understand that. Every time I talk to my wife about it,
you like Thundercats, go tell someone else.
Yeah, when I try to talk to my wife, it's like deer in the headlights. She just could care less. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she likes all that stuff, but she doesn't care about the toy aspect of it. So she's like, "That's
Right.
great. Go play with your toys."
Yeah. What do you think of this shot? Oh, that's cool. I guess. You gonna
Right.
post it or what? It's like, oh, yeah, I was thinking about it. But yeah, not a great source of inspiration, but at least they're there to support us, so that's cool. Yeah, so I went back into your history, and you collect a lot of different stuff. You're very diverse in your collections and your figures, and it seems like you dabble between 1/12, 1/18 mainly, right? Like, do you ever
I mean,
get
it's
into the
mostly
1/6?
112. I collect. I do some reaction figures from Super 7, and I collect vintage collection, but I don't do much more than that as far as 1/18. And then I get a few 1/6 figures here and there, but that's pretty specific stuff. Like mostly just like the Mondo Master.
Mhm.
That's right. Yeah, because you're a huge. I mean, if you can't tell from the display behind you, you're a
Right.
huge Motu fan. Is that the new diamond
Snake
behind
Mountain.
you?
Is that what?
Yeah, the new Snake Mountain. Is that the one that they just
That's the
released
Super 7
recently?
one
That's a Super
wow.
7 one.
Wow.
2 years ago, roughly.
I think it's
Man, it's been
massive.
that long. That's crazy. No, see, and I've watched your. I think what really got me hooked onto your channel even more was I was slowly like getting into Super 7, and I think all the Thundercat stuff. I was like, damn it, Jared. I was like, here we go, gotta. And then the minute they announced that Thunder Tank, I think almost every figure you were reviewing, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to add that to the cart. I'm like, I can't watch this guy's videos anymore because I'm losing this point game. One, I'm barely getting the handle of how this enabling system works, and now I'm giving away my points left and right. I already got in trouble by giving a bunch of points to Yoko. I'm not gonna admit that ToyBro enabled me to buy all these Super 7. But man, this last year I went so hard on Super 7. I was getting TMNT. I got most of the Thundercats. I had pre-ordered their Silverhawk stuff, but I was just like, okay, wait, stop. I'm gonna run out of room by the time this Thunder Tank gets delivered.
Yeah, the Thunder Tank's going to be a whole thing. I have no idea where it's going to go.
No, but wicked job on those Thunder Cats reviews. Like every single time, I don't know how many times I've seen them where I'm just like, I can't wait to have them. Like I watched your top 10, and not to my surprise, but I love that your number 1 was in my list too. And I was like, yes, great minds think alike. That
I
was
wasn't
awesome.
sure if he was going to be in there or not, but I'm like, this is. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a figure I've waited for years. Like,
Yeah.
it's what I wanted. So,
and
it came out so long ago.
We did our
year,
top
I kind of
5.
forgot about him too. I'm like, did he come out this year or not? I wasn't really sure. And I had to go back and check.
Yeah, no, and to your point, like it was the figure that Thundercat fans have been wanting for such a long time. But when we're doing, we did a top 5, that was it. And I was like, there has to be something Super 7 in there because they just killed it. I feel like they hit that nostalgia button for me. And the little 7-year-old mini prime was like jumping for joy when I was unboxing these Thundercats, and I was like, man, I was so ecstatic. And yeah, it was that Mumra just freaking killed it. Like if you're a Thundercat fan, you need to have that
love him. I
Mumra.
think he's
Yeah.
probably the best figure in the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that wasn't the only Super 7 on your list either, right? You had
Slash from Turtles.
Yeah, which is another line that they're like, I think you nailed it in your review from a nostalgia aspect and an accuracy to what they're really trying to do. Like they're nailing it almost every single time. So it makes sense that Slash would make your list. And you've collected almost all of the TMNT figures at this point. Is that right?
I mean, I've got them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a single modern turtle figure that I do not own at this point.
Yeah, you're a huge turtle guy, which is why I wore this shirt in honor of you, Jared.
Is that one of the Loot Crate shirts?
It is. Yeah, it is. Gosh, this guy knows his toys.
I have that same shirt, so yeah.
You got the turtles on, nice.
That's right. A fellow turtle fan. I know it's very recent news, but speaking of turtles, what are your thoughts on the Mezco turtles?
I'm very interested, but I mean it's kind of like a feeling I have with a lot of Mezco stuff. Like the promo pictures, I do not think are doing them justice because they seem to be like so heavily photoshopped. Proportions look really weird, but I mean, there's no doubt in my mind I'm going to get them. I'm not going to get them, but I would really like to be able to see them in hand just to know specifically what we're getting, because it's a Turtles figure, so they're going to be entirely different than anything else we've gotten from Mezco. They're unique.
Yeah.
And they say they've got unique body molds, so that's really weird on its own, which is pretty crazy. Probably accounts for that price tag. They come with 8 million accessories, which is kind of daunting. It's one of the things I love and hate about Mezco is there's just so much stuff that I don't know what to do with them. Like, which one do I want to display it with? And then am I never going to see these 99 other accessories again?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think they look pretty cool. They're very Mezco-ified turtles.
Yeah.
They kind of ride that line between like almost cartoony, but then they're very mirage-y at the same time. And they also sort of like scream 2012 Turtles to me too a little bit. Something about the way they're like, just like the way they're designed, the sizing of them. That's another reason I'd like to see them, because the product page says they're like almost 7 inches tall, which seems really, really big for a Mezco figure. So I'm hoping that's wrong. I feel like these should be small. They should be like almost like Atticus Doom size or something. But
I agree, because on top of that, it's a Ninja Turtle, which is normally shorter than the average human. So if that's a taller figure than the rest of my Mezco collection, doesn't make a lot of sense. It shouldn't be that way.
It won't deter me, but I'm still really curious to see what they look like. I mean, we've got a while to go. It's been 2.25 years since that first teaser came out. I can wait a little while longer.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, you bring up some good points. It's kind of like a mishmash of a lot of different iterations of the Turtles, which is one thing I like about Mezco. They always kind of bring their own sort of
they're
unique
pulling
take
from all over
on
the
stuff.
place. Like even the alternate heads, each one of them gets a Playmate's head based on the way the teeth are structured. So Leo's gritting out of one side, Mikey's gritting out of the other. Raph is like snarling, and Donnie has just sort of an open mouth. They all, if you look in the picture that has all the heads, it's that middle row of heads. They're definitely Playmates inspired.
Yeah, bring it up real quick just for anybody.
Watching. The ones in the middle are definitely Playmates inspired. They're a little more realistic and gritty, but
I didn't realize that until you pointed out. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah.
I like that Mikey one where he's like screaming. I think that one looks great.
That one's great. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think Mikey definitely has the most expressive heads. I kind of wish some of the others were a bit more expressive. Yeah, I mean, I know Mikey should be. At least we got some screaming heads, and Donnie, I feel like could do with. Yeah, they kind of are. They're not very consistent. Like I think Donnie could use a open mouth head as well, but
I don't know about that weird little smirk heads that he's got, but the rest of them I'm pretty happy with.
Yeah, this one here.
Yeah,
I don't remember a lot of. I mean, I guess he has made that face before, but it's not one that he's really known for, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't mean to go straight into Mezco and talk about that, but since we're talking about Turtles, I wanted to get your thoughts on it. And I agree about the proportions too. Very big feet, small legs, big upper body, head's kind of tiny. It's just
they kind of remind me of the NECA Mirage Turtles in that way.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Which, like you said, that Mirage inspiration is definitely there. I'm
kind of surprised they didn't include red bandana heads.
Yes.
Although that's an easy, here's a convention exclusive or something. Here, pay us another $400 and you can have a set of Mirage Turtles.
Gosh,
black and white.
Probably right on the money with that. Yeah. Especially if they're going to make unique molds, you're going to see these again.
We're going to see them again. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. Sorry, Prime. I know you're probably going to ask more questions about maybe Thundercats.
No, now I'm like thinking about these freaking turtles because I did like them. I like the soft. It was so cool that they included the trench coat for Raph and just additional soft goods. I mean, to Jared's points, like they come with so many accessories. That's really what had me intrigued. Where I was like, man, what else do they come with?
Yeah, I don't need those soft goods, but I like those soft goods. I like the capes. Right, and I'm like, cape on a turtle. Yeah, absolutely, that looks cool. Yep. The jacket for Mikey.
That's unique because. The jacket for Mikey. I was like, man, like that's really cool. They thought of some type of unique soft good for each individual turtle. I think they really did a great job. I don't know. I didn't automatically like think, oh, I need to pre-order those. I'm more like to Jared's point. Like I like to see them in hand because a lot of times, like the Mezcos, the pictures look horrible, and I just gotta tell myself, I know that the Mezco product, once you get it in hand, it's mind blowing, especially the accessory, especially
Yeah,
like the
I'm sure
soft
they're going to
goods.
look better in hand. I have no doubt.
Mhm.
They just
Yeah.
those pictures just they aren't really doing it for me. That's all.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
But I've been
Yeah, I was
waiting for
curious.
these. I mean, for years at this point. So it's am I not going to get them?
Yeah, like you said, when they first originally solicited, I was curious how they were going to look because it's not Mezco style to go with a turtle, something that typically doesn't have any soft goods at all.
Yeah.
So the fact that they made it a unique mold and just looks
Yeah,
very
unique molds
different.
is crazy. That's like almost unheard of for turtles.
That's a
Pretty
big
bad.
investment from Mezco's part too to, create just these
I
four
mean, fully
molds.
tooled figure. You can't hide it with soft goods. It's all there.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well, interesting. So we will at some point, it sounds like, see these on ToyBro's channel.
I have no doubt. Yeah.
So
The only
I'll
question is where am
definitely
I going
be
to order
watching
them
that.
from? That's how quick do I need to get them?
Yeah, it is nice that they're not an exclusive, so you have more
Right, I can finally use my
options.
points. So
Right.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
been a long time since I've used points. So
Yeah, you can't use them on exclusives for Mezco for whatever reason. It doesn't make any sense to me, but that's a whole nother topic,
yeah,
which we'll go into a gripe session at some point here. But yeah, so going back to your channel, Jared, I mean, I see you do a lot of stuff. You just got that Sparrow Toys Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. There's a lot of people out there that got invested in that Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
They're waiting on those figures. It seems like from your impressions, they're pretty spot on, exactly what you thought they were going to be.
better.
But do you have any?
Better.
Yeah.
I think they're awesome. They're great.
Yeah.
I think people that have been eagerly awaiting them are going to be pleasantly surprised.
Nice.
Because I had the chance to mess around with them at PowerCon, and then they were at LegionsCon, and I helped him set up his booth at LegionsCon. So I used that as an excuse to just sort of play around with all of the prototypes. And then he said he was going to send me one to check out, and it moves so well.
Yeah.
And they look so much better than I thought they looked good to begin with, but they look a lot better in hand.
Well, and it's a good point though. You make a point like this looks exactly like what I ordered, and that doesn't happen very often, unfortunately. A lot of the times you see a render that's like, oh, this looks amazing, and then you get in your hand and it's not exactly how I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, these are essentially what you saw on the Kickstarter. They're just going to be in hand. They are exactly what you think they are.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and
if not for the fact that they move a lot better than I thought they were going to. That's probably the only surprise. Is the articulation is pretty crazy on them.
Which is great to see, especially for something like that, it's going to go against a lot of other lines, as far as articulation. I feel like that's the thing a lot of people focus on nowadays is, does it have the right articulation or not?
Right.
Which isn't the main thing to focus on with figures, in my opinion. Like if you're only worried about articulation, you're going to miss out on a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that Animal Warriors the Kingdom is at least delivering to that level. So you have a lot of those on order with the Kickstarter, right? And I think they're just now starting to deliver on the first wave.
They're getting close. I don't know that they've left the factory still.
Okay.
But because there was, there's part of the reason why he was sending some of those out for folks to check out was because of the delay. There was a piece or something that wasn't done on time that allowed the torsos to be clamped shut and welded. So that was like the one big hang up. So I think that's been fixed and they're ready to go. And I know he's posted a lot of videos on Facebook and Instagram lately of people packing boxes and putting things in trays. And so I think we're getting close.
Yeah. And then you said another thing was the ratchet joint.
Yeah, there was a ratchet in the ab. Yeah, the ab crunch. The piece that he sent me didn't have the ratchet yet. So it was pretty floppy, but still worked just fine. Some crazy range because of that ratchet not being there. But it's a pretty cool figure. I was really, really pleased to see ahead of getting my actual order that, they're going to be great.
Yeah. It's cool that you got that early look. And I think a lot of people out there are going to be going to that video to see, hey, am I getting what I thought I was going to get, or should I invest in these or not? I think I went to the Sparrow Toys website yesterday and there were open pre-orders still for some of these. Pale was one of the ones included.
And they're still on BBTS too.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, digging back into your collecting history, not so much what you're doing now, but have you always been collecting? Is this something you've been doing since your childhood? When did you actually get serious about it?
I mean, I'd say I've always been doing it. I mean, when I was a kid, it was Thundercats, and Thundercats was like the first thing, and it was I was probably like 2 years old when Thundercats came on the air. So like I don't exactly remember it, but I have them all from when I was a kid, so I got them somehow, and I remember the show. And then Turtles happened, and that was when it really started, because I was of age to not choke and die on a nunchuck or something at that point. So it was Turtles. It was, we go to the store, you get a turtle. Go to your grandparents' house, they're gonna have turtles. Everything was Turtles all the time for just years. And then Power Rangers was the next thing, and that was probably when I started like stopping, because I was too old at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I got into like middle school. I collected like Power of the Force Star Wars figures, and that was about it. And I was real heavy into those because my grandpa, for some reason, really wanted to get those. So he and I would go hunting for Star Wars figures. I don't know why. I'm convinced the man has never seen a movie, but he really wanted to buy these Star Wars figures, and he still got all of his. They line a basement wall in his house for some reason. So he's got like these just green and orange cards all over the wall. I'm like, all right. But we did that, and then I think I stopped for a little while, like for real. And then, like maybe like junior, senior year of high school, I picked back up when I had my own money at that point. And I worked at Target at the time. So,
oh, wow.
Any collectors beware. You did not get stuff when I was.
Nothing on the pegs. So, insider trader over here.
I was that employee that was buying stuff before it hit the floor.
Dang.
So, you're the one that they make memes about.
Right. Yeah. There, you didn't hit the floor.
I'm like, can you check the back here? It's like, nope, can't check the back. Still on the pallet.
You get that new figure? I know it's not back there. I took it myself.
Yeah, I already got it. It's in my car. Yeah. But that was a big time for me. And then I stopped again for a little while. Maybe like the early 2010s. For reasons I don't remember. I was really heavy into comics again at that time. Mm-hmm. And that's probably why a lot of my money went towards comics. Yeah. But I would still get figures here and there. Like I thankfully picked up the NECA Mirage set just on a whim. Like, hey, this looks cool. I'm going to buy this. Never heard of NECA at the time. No idea who they were. And of course, it ended up being like one of the most expensive turtle items ever. So,
one of the most sought after NECA figures.
Right.
Or sets
and then
of all
I
time.
really picked back up like 2013, 2013. And that was due to Power Rangers again, actually, when Bandai started making the Legacy stuff. Like they came out with their Legacy Megazords and stuff like that. And Bandai in Japan was making Sentai Figure Arts. So that was a big thing. And that got me into Figure Arts. And then I got into Dragon Ball Figure Arts and then Star Wars Figure Arts. And then it just went downhill, uphill, however you want to describe it.
Snowball. Yeah.
Yeah. Snowball is the right word. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that you posted a couple of Figure Arts in your top 10 as well. The Gundam, and then I think it was GT Goku, Super Saiyan 4.
Oh yeah, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, yeah.
Nice. And did you watch those shows when you were young? Like, did you watch Gundam and Dragon Ball?
Yeah, anime is just as big of a thing for me as anything else.
Yeah. That was funny. I discovered DBZ through Toonami. I don't know if you remember Toonami.
I was watching DBZ on like bootleg VHS tapes in like the mid 90s.
Oh, wow.
Random episode here and there, hearing the myth of what there's a Dragon Ball GT and I couldn't get a hold of it somehow. All this stuff, like didn't know how to get a hold of it, finding tapes at like flea markets and stuff like that and small conventions that were around the area. So yeah, that anime is a big thing for me.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I remember it was really hard to find episodes of that show. That's why I had to rely on Cartoon Network's Toonami, staying up till 12 a.m. just so I could catch this week's episode.
So you could catch it for them to then run out of episodes and then restart it again. And then do the same thing for the next 6 months.
You're like, wait, Namek Saga again? What the hell?
Again? Yeah. I really need to see this Super Saiyan that they don't seem to have the episode for.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I've avoided the SH figure arts not for lack of appreciating the figures. Just I don't want to create that that monster because I want to collect a lot of them. I
Yeah,
have
that's a
huge
line
love
that,
for
like,
the
if I
show.
wasn't already in, I wouldn't start it.
Yeah,
I feel
and
that
you
way about a
mentioned
lot of the lines I collect now, though. If I wasn't already in them, I would not start.
yeah, and then it's added from there. You got Super 7, you got Mythic Legions, which I know you're really into. More NECA stuff. I mean, like I said, you have very diverse in your collection, which I appreciate because I think a lot of people tend to stick to maybe 3 or 4 different things.
That's probably the smart thing to do.
Well, at least you have the space for it, right? I know that room that you're in now, we're only seeing a part of it, but it's a fairly
the good
big room
corner.
for your collection,
This is the
right?
good, the good corner. Yeah. It's fairly large. I still don't think once I'm done, I'm going to realize that it's actually not as big as I think it is.
Right. Well, you're filling it up fast, I'm sure, with
There's
your
going to be
displays.
decisions to make at some point.
Yeah. So
Which
you're
figures go in a
collecting.
bin, which don't.
Yeah, right.
Oh man,
How do I store it?
not the
What
bin
do I
talk
get
again.
rid of?
Right.
I get a bunch of share ready for the bin talk, and I forgot who I said. I think I was giving credit to 78 points, but it was Rad Toyologist. He ended up calling you Financial Nate and Prime to the bin because all my figures go. And I was like, nope, that's it. I'm gonna have to get rid of all my. And speaking of one of your reviews, was I kept going to it was the Sentinel, the Ryu, and just those figures. Man, I was telling Nate about that cartoon. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But I used to watch that all the time. Like I even found like a DVD set of the whole series that I don't know, must have got it at a con or a flea market or something. Because one version it looked like the dude recorded it off of TV. And then I later ended up finding like a better version that I bought from Amazon. But now I'm like, I got the DVD set. Do I need those figures? I'm like, I'll just go watch ToyBro's review again. And I was like, damn it. So I have the Ryu from HLJ that they're about to reissue in January, which I'm waiting for that payment request. But I don't know. If I get him, I'm going to have to get the rest. So
Yeah, I don't know that I could do one without the rest of them.
I know, and I blame you for all those reviews because I was like, I'll just live through his reviews and that's
I've been waiting for this toy line for Ronin Warriors for so long.
They're epic, man, and
and they're so good.
The group. Oh, don't tell me that.
You can take all the armor off and put them on that little fake body and put it in the chair. It's great.
Yep. Damn,
that's cool. It's like a mock, kind of like something holding the
armor. Because when they when they transform in the show, they show the armor just alone, and they're in their little undersuit thing, and you can have both versions. Yeah. Which of course cool. You need 2 of them if you want to really recreate that. So we're at Legion's Con. I was talking to D Amazing about him. He's like, "Yeah, I buy 2 of each of those." I'm like, "Man, you're crazy."
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's insane. Yeah,
I knew he was going to say that as soon as we started talking. I'm like, "Yeah, you have 2 of each of them. I'm sure."
Yeah,
I don't collect those, but I know they're not cheap either, right?
They're not. No, they're not. They're like $1 after tax and shipping. It's like $1.50, if not a little bit more. So, but I mean that cartoon was so badass. Like I would want, hopefully, like I need that tiger to go with Ryu. So who knows? And some of the villains, and the list goes on.
More to come.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna be struggling in 2020.
I'm telling you, I lived through.
Story.
No, I lived through ToyBro's reviews. I just go back. I'm like, you know what? I don't have the figures, but I'll just go watch his review and enjoy him playing with the figure. I'm like, all right, that's good enough for me.
Live vicariously through ToyBro. I think a lot of us do that. Like, oh, that looks like a really cool figure. I like it.
Add it to my cart. Take it out of my cart. Add it to my cart.
The back and forth
stuff like.
But yeah, I mean, like,
not.
We've talked about this a few times, but like, do you have a method for your organization, for your collecting that, I mean, Jared at all, or is it kind of just,
no,
hey, this goes here, this goes there?
No, there's no method. The method is madness. That's about it.
Yeah. We've talked about trying to like be organized and different ways you can store figures, but at the end of the day, it's hard to stick to that, because it's something you're going to have to like get into the habit of like, okay, this goes in here, this store's over here, or, like the accessories is a problem. Like you talked about Mezcos, I've started just not opening or getting all the accessories out of the box because I'm worried at some point when I do want to sell it, I won't know what goes where, especially with all the Gomez hands. Like, I don't know what set goes here and what set goes in this figure.
Someone's going to get 36 middle finger hands.
Right, exactly. These are all middle fingers. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it came with. I'm sorry.
Well, who do they go to? They all look exactly the same. Yeah.
Yep.
They do. Yeah. So I've just stopped taking them out of the box now because I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to sort this back when I do want to sell it. But yeah, I mean, I got to meet you at Legion's Con, which was a really cool experience. Got to have lunch with you and Jay and Dante from Infinity Equation.
We had a
one of
great,
those things.
Jersey Mike's experience. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jersey Mike's. Yeah,
When they
we
ran out
tried
of
to
bread.
get some. Yeah, they ran out of bread, and so we had
What?
to do wraps. Yeah, how do you
Yep,
run
it
out of
was-
bread at a
I thought they
salad
just
shop?
put I thought they just put the meat in your hands. Like, all right, who's next? What'd you get? Some
I
chicken
don't know.
Philly
That
here,
might have
just
been better, honestly. I don't know.
That might have been better than what we actually did get.
Oh.
But yeah,
it was too late to turn back at that point.
It was. I think we were all just starving. That was like the first night, and I just needed some kind of substance. But yeah, not having bread at a Jersey
At a
Mike's.
sub shop.
Yeah,
it's
it was not a
crazy.
good start. Not a
I was
good indicator of what's
Did
to
you
come.
just say we're out of bread? Yeah.
Yeah, she
Okay.
did. Wraps only.
Well, I'm not going anywhere else. So.
But I mean, that was just such a cool experience seeing you and everybody else from the community and just how welcoming everyone was and how excited everyone is about Mythic Legions. Have you been collecting that line since the beginning, since its inception, like the Kickstarter, or like when did you get into Legions?
I was in on the first Kickstarter, but probably one of my only like real modern regrets is that I couldn't go all in on that first Kickstarter. So I had the chunk of it, but not nearly what I wanted out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, I've been in since before, because I was buying some of the stuff they had before that. And obviously I was, buying Motu Classics. So I was well aware of it before it ever blew up. I already knew it was a thing. I knew it was coming. So I was
and you're
prepared.
Your early investment pays off because a lot of those early figures are very expensive,
They are
very
in
hard
many
to come
ways
by.
unattainable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even try because I got in so late. I got in way.
Yeah, I
later
mean, it's
than
one of
you.
like I said, like it's one of the lines I collected. If I don't know that I would get in at all if I wasn't already in. I don't think I could do it from the way from the way I feel the need to collect. I don't think I could do it. I would, because so many of the figures that I think are the best in the line come from like the first two Kickstarters. They're so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And even the 2.0 aspect of what they're doing is not sufficient enough for me, because there's still another figure out there that's different,
Got to catch them all.
That part of me would really hate that. So I've made my peace with the fact that I'll probably never get all of the figures I'm missing, but I would never start from scratch. Just how I do it. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't give ToyBro a checklist is what I'm taking away from that. Don't give him a checklist because he'll be like, I'm missing this. F you guys.
Right.
It's going to drive him crazy. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Like, I got to find it.
Yeah. Yeah. I try not to think about the figures from Legions that I don't own at this point.
Just drives you nuts internally.
It's hard. I mean, it's even hard to find them. So,
so now
the pool of people that have them and are going to sell them is dwindling over time.
It's true.
So I've made a few purchases that I normally wouldn't, just because of the price, and I've got the ones that I missed out early on and really wanted now. So kind of got what I want and we'll move forward.
Yeah, and like you talk about when you invested in Legions from the Kickstarter, and I don't know if it's the same as it is now, but one thing I feel like is really unique to Legions is their pre-order process, because you're not pre-ordering you can do individual figures, but they're releasing the entire wave all at once. Here's everything. Right. And it's like 12, 10, I don't know, 13 figures sometimes. So when you look at that price tag, you're like, dang, that's a lot of money to throw down at once. Like right now, we're talking about the Necronominus pre-order. You're looking close to $600, maybe more if you do taxes and shipping, which when you think about it, like, I don't know if I can get into this line. It's a big investment. Yeah, you can pick and choose stuff. But even if you're going to get like maybe 4 or 5 of them, it's probably a better investment just to go with the all-in, right?
Yeah, usually, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's depending on what you're getting, sure. But I mean, if you're going to get a couple figures and a horse, I mean, you're probably already talking $200.
Right.
it's obviously still a lot more money to go like that full 550, but by the time you get them, are you going to want the rest of them? If you do, then you've already saved yourself money by having to not by avoiding the resellers or the aftermarket. And if you don't want them, you can just sell them and probably recoup every bit of money that you spent, because you're going to have them before the big bads out there, and people are going to pay extra for them because there's no other way to get them.
Right. Yeah, and to your point, that's the only time you can get them at that price, that lower.
Right, and you're paying quite a bit less than the quote unquote retail price.
Right. Yeah. So I think for me, getting in the line, that was a kind of an adjustment of just having to do such a big investment up front. But then,
it's still sticker shock to do that pre-order, and then not get anything,
right,
for quite a while. Because for this one, we got to wait for this one. But there's a whole bunch. At this point, I just think, okay, I'm paying for something, and then a new wave of something is going to show up here in a month or so, and I'll just be content with that for a while. But the original Kickstarters were a whole different thing, because they were super expensive, and the wait was insane for a while. I don't remember how long it took for the first one, but the second Kickstarter took 20 months.
Wow. Oh, wow.
From the end of the Kickstarter to delivery.
Oh, wow.
$1,300 for the all-in.
Oh,
that was for 40. It was like 40 figures.
Wow.
So it was literally a collection in one go.
Wow, I did not know that.
My wife was not happy with that one, because I told her I was buying them. She didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
And then I told her how much they cost.
Well, like,
$300. We can't do anything about it. We just have to wait.
That's the best way to handle that argument. Like, there's no reason to get mad. It's already done.
It's already done.
It's done. I'm just asking. I'm not even asking for forgiveness. It's just done.
I'll take your anger for the next month or so, and then we'll be fine again.
Right.
It's 20 months of anger.
20 months. Yeah. She forgot about them. And then these two massive boxes showed up. What the hell is this stuff?
It's the pre-order that you were mad about
I got
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And that is no longer an acceptable excuse, at least for I pre-ordered 2 years ago. Who cares? Why did you pre-order it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a revolving door of boxes right now. So none of that flies anymore. I pre-ordered that like 6 months ago. She's like, I don't care. That doesn't work in this house anymore. Yeah.
So with that in mind, are you trying to like slim down? Are you just adding, or how do you manage?
I've started to be a little more choosy about what I get, or maybe at least when I get it. Because for the longest time it was I need to get it right away, and that's mostly just from the aspect of the channel.
Right.
At least for the longest time, it's like if I could get something early, then I'm going to actually get a serious amount of views for it. Now I don't necessarily have to do it, and I think a lot of people come to me for specific things, and I've sort of narrowed what I do down to that. But I've started not buying as many Black Series figures because the line is awful now, but or not necessarily pre-ordering every single Hasbro figure right away, because it's just been biting me in the ass for so long. I'll get it, and then immediately a week later it's 40% off on Amazon or something. It's like, I've got figures that I haven't even opened yet, people are buying on clearance, and that I'm trying to avoid that scenario.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff that I've started to not buy as much of, but not necessarily like paring down. I have been getting rid of a few things here and there, but nothing too drastic.
Yeah. And like you said, it's a hard pill to swallow when you want to show the support up front and you're trying to get those figures right away. And then you see, like you talked about, even the last couple of months.
Yeah, I'm very much of the mind that if you want to support the line, you need to buy the line.
Right.
Like buying something on clearance is not supporting the line.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I understand that, everybody's finances are different, but that's not supporting the line. It doesn't help Target when you buy something on clearance. That's not showing them that you'll pay for that figure. You're just buying a deal. So if you want to support the line, you should be paying full price, but I understand that that's always not going to be for everybody, and nor should it really, But I did try for a really long time to just sort of be on the ball with pre-orders and make sure that I've got everything, and I'm going to pay full price. And for a while it was fine. And then of course, like the last year or so, it's like everything's on sale all the time now. So I don't think that's the right method anymore.
Yeah, this last holiday season seemed like it was a bit more extreme as far as the sales. And
Yeah, it was
just
pretty
stuff
much
that
like
was on
nonstop.
clearance.
Amazon had those weird coupon deals like every single day.
Yeah,
And Entertainment Earth was doing sales for the first time in forever, free shipping, 10% off codes all over the place, discounts, outlet deals, crazy stuff.
Yeah, which makes you want to pump the brakes during the year. Like, okay, I can probably bet, unless it's something that I know, like a Mythic Legions, for instance. I probably shouldn't wait on those. But like,
that's
Legends,
that and like Mezco is mostly the exception to the rule right now.
Right. But Legends, NECA, all that kind of stuff, like I don't have to get it right away. I can just wait, get it when it's on sale, because I'll feel a little bit better about myself. But you bring up a great point, for a lot of people that are collecting. I think they forget that if you want these lines to be successful and you want them to continue to provide the product that you enjoy, you've got to get in early and show that support. And I think a lot of people, and I'm speaking broadly here, they want something on clearance and they want it better than what it was the last time, kind of thing. Like, I want this to be cheaper cost and I want it to be better than what it was 2 years ago, or whatever the case is. And you can't have both. If you want Hasbro to increase articulation and provide better quality, you're gonna have to show them the investment up front. Yeah, I get it though, because a lot of stuff is more expensive nowadays and people are struggling as it is. But you just can't expect Hasbro to keep pumping out that stuff if everybody's just buying things on clearance. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword. Like you want your lines to continue, but you don't necessarily want to pay those prices anymore. How do you ride that line where you still support the line without breaking the bank to do that? I'm not going to go in debt for Hasbro, but at the same time, they make the toys that I want, and I try to buy them at least as close to retail as possible. But again, like when I have figures that I haven't even opened yet, and people are buying them for $8 on clearance, that's like, well, I made the mistake at that point. I should have at least opened the damn thing. But, I would feel better if it wasn't in the box still.
Yeah,
those were the ones that stung. But yeah,
it's a hard realization. See it there, you're like, okay, I paid full price, but I didn't really have to.
Or you find it in the store on clearance, and it's like, well, I have this at home already. And it's in the box.
Yeah, that's rough. But yeah, I mean, going back to what I was going to say about Legions Con, was that your first time going to Legions Con? Did you go to last year's? How does this compare? Oh, okay.
That was the first time I've ever been, because it wasn't big enough for me to justify that trip, because it certainly wasn't a cheap trip for me to go there. Hotel, plane, all the stuff I bought while I was there. I mean, it was a decent sized trip. And last year 2021, it still wasn't its own thing. It was attached to that New Jersey Toy Con, so it was still kind of just a small thing. So. This, when it was finally its own thing, and a full weekend, is like, I'll finally do it this time.
Yeah, I think a lot of us were saying that, or I know it was, for me, it was like my maybe year and a half that I've been collecting at that point. So I wanted to show my support by going and supporting the line that way. To your earlier point about, hey, if you want figures from this company, you got to go show support, and part of that is going to those conventions and trying to support them there. Like, hey, I'll buy tickets for the show. I'll come and see what you guys are showing off. I'll buy some figures there. But I really loved the customizer aspect of that too. A lot of people that I didn't know existed, or I hadn't seen their work before, and there was just such a huge community there. Are you pretty heavy into the customizing? Do you invest in that a lot, or do you kind of just dabble?
I mean, a little bit. I guess I do a little bit more than I thought I did when I sort of took stock of what all I had. I have a pretty decent amount of custom parts and custom heads for Legions. It's pretty much all Legion stuff. I have a few custom pieces for other things, like some Motu stuff and a couple Legends custom pieces, but it's mostly all Mythic Legions, just because something about that just seems to work better aesthetically for me. Like all these
Mhm.
custom heads seem to fit better on these bodies. They visually look
Mhm.
seamless on a Legion's body versus like some really expensive Wolverine head on a $20 Wolverine body. Like it takes me out of the figure when I see that. Because like I have some of that stuff. And I'm like, this head looks great, but this body doesn't look like it belongs here.
Yeah.
But like with Legions, like it's all, since it's so heavily decoed, it looks
Mhm.
more seamless. It looks
Cohesive.
like it was meant
Yeah.
for that body. So like I picked up a few things at the convention, and I probably have like 15 or 20 custom heads at this point, maybe.
Mhm.
Which I don't know if that's a lot, but it was a lot for me when I realized what I had.
I think it's a good amount. I mean, I have maybe 10 custom heads, I think, in total.
Yeah, I think
my
I left
collection.
Legion's Con with 6,
Okay.
5 or 6.
Yeah, I left with only about 2 or 3, but I made the mistake of getting in that line first thing and
Oh, so
sitting
did
there
I,
for 4
yeah.
hours. Yeah. So, then you realize like, oh, maybe I should have just gone to the customizers tables first and then tried to
Yeah,
get
the
this.
logistics of that were definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be
so-
nice. I'm glad to see that the next year they are going to be choosing a different venue. Not that venue was terrible, but it wasn't optimal, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, next year is going to be, or this year will be like what, 3 times the size or something, some huge amount of space for a singular toy line.
That's crazy.
That's epic.
Yeah. Just goes to show how much support they have, though. They feel like they need it.
I mean, it's crazy. Legions is, I mean, it seems so much bigger than it was, but I still think like so many people have no idea it exists.
True.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you either know or you don't. I mean, I use Motu Classics as like the example. Like, I still have people today that tell me they've never heard of it. I'm like, this toy line is 15 years old already. It has like 300 figures. It's the largest He-Man line that's ever been made, and like people don't know it exists. And Legions is exactly the same way. Like, it's huge, it's wide-reaching, it has tons and tons of fans that are absolutely rabid for it.
Right.
But like people have no idea it exists. Like, you either find it or you don't. Like, it's not going to jump out and find you.
Right.
Not like they're advertising in Toy Fair magazine or anything. So, it's you're not going to see it unless you know where to look, or if you find it on social media. And it's like I'll post a picture and they're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "You really don't know what this is?" Like, it's like I have so many of these figures, and I take for granted the fact that people don't also have them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of toy collectors tend to gravitate towards comic stuff or maybe nostalgia type things.
Oh yeah.
At least that's what I did when I was collecting for a large majority of my collecting history. And then it wasn't until I got older that I started appreciating the more of the fantasy aspect, like you said, the deco, the Legions, just the little fine details that you just don't see in a lot of other figures. That makes it feel like, okay, I'm getting better quality for my money by investing in this line. But it might not be for everyone. But I'm glad to see, like, are you pretty excited for Cosmic? Did you invest into that one too? Are you getting all the?
Oh, I'm
Cosmic stuff?
all in on Cosmic. Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been waiting for that. I mean, they've teased it for years when they used to call it like Galactic Legions or something like that. They would mention that they wanted to do a space line and would drop hints here and there for a long, long time, ever before that pre-order went up. And then they showed them off at PowerCon a couple years ago, and I finally got to see them in person. I guess it was, I don't even know when that was at this point. Not last year, but maybe 2019, or that doesn't sound right. I don't know. But it was a while. Whenever PowerCon was still in California is when they were there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for those. I'm convinced that I ordered less than what I want. So we'll see about that. But
it seems like a constant
definitely
struggle
all in
for you.
on Cosmic. Yeah.
Like, did I get enough? No. But I'm sure you got at least one all in some.
Oh yeah,
extras.
I got one all in, and I got some extras, and I got some stuff on Big Bad. So
and it's still not enough.
There's so many different like army builders. I want like a bunch of those alien dudes.
Yeah, that's true.
There's just the standard gray X-Files looking alien. I want a bunch of him.
Yeah,
for no real reason. I just feel like, yeah, that's a good figure. I want a bunch of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've contrived this problem where I want to army build stuff, but I have no real reason to do that. Like I'm not a toy photographer. I'm not going to take this like elaborate picture with them. They're just going to be on a shelf. Like do I need 45 Cobra bats on my shelf or something, something like that.
It just looks badass when you walk into your room.
It really
right?
does.
Yeah.
Though. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think I was talking to Nate the other day about, I have a Hydra army. It's like close to 30 Hydra soldiers. I'm like, I don't take any pictures. Like I even bought some collector I knew, he was getting out of collecting legends, and he reached out to me and he's like, hey, I customized this Hydra truck. It's a 112 truck and a motorcycle to go with it. Colors match perfect. He put decals on it. He's like, do you want it? And I was like, hell yeah, like I'll take it. And he even sold me his extra Hydra soldier. So I have it all decked out right now. It's just like in a box because I used to have it displayed before we moved. And I'm like, what am I doing with this stuff? Like what's going on? But I was going to ask you something. You mentioned earlier you were at a point in your collecting where you felt like you needed to have it first. Now, with the growth of and the progression of your channel, did you feel like it was a mutual relationship between like your collecting it benefited from your channel, and then vice versa? Did your channel benefit from your collecting?
My channel definitely influenced my collecting, at least
Yeah.
it still does, but not
Right.
nearly as much. Like I'm collecting because I want all this stuff now. But
Right.
for a while, yeah, like I was for a short while. I didn't do it for a long time, but I was like buying stuff just to do videos.
Right.
And I was like, this has to stop. Like I'm not going to keep doing
Yeah.
that. Buying things
Right.
that I normally wouldn't have bought just because I'm like, this is cool looking. It might make for an interesting video.
For sure.
So, it influenced my collecting. It influenced how I bought. It didn't really influence my collecting. I don't think I picked up any lines just because I was like, oh, I want to take a look at this and do a video.
Yeah.
And suddenly it snowballed into buying a whole line.
Okay.
But yeah, it definitely, I think knowing, like I was already collecting before I started the channel. So
Yeah.
I knew I had a pretty good basis in what I knew about toys, how to get toys,
Yeah.
where to get them,
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I was pretty well versed in just the collecting aspect itself. So it's not like I was starting fresh just because I want
Right.
to talk on YouTube about toys.
Right.
Let's go find some stuff and do that. I was already super deep in the various lines when it started. It was just, but it definitely did. It definitely did give me some, I guess, some ambition to get more stuff. Maybe quicker than I would have otherwise.
Yeah.
Like pre-ordering an entire case of Legends when previously I would have just, got them whenever I saw them.
Right.
Changing that kind of habit to just, I might as well just buy the whole damn case because I'm going to get them. I need to build a figure.
Yeah. No, I only say that just because it seems, and and through us talking, it seems like, what were some takeaways from, because the milestones I think you've accomplished with the channel, like that's a great accomplishment. I think it's no easy feat to hit certain milestones. You're almost close to 30K. It's, what were some challenges where you're like, oh, okay, that's the lesson learned. I'm not going to do that again. What were some takeaways, at least let's say from this year?
The biggest takeaway it was a really hard thing to learn is to not do too much.
Okay.
I think at a certain point I was pumping out so many videos that people could not watch them all. And they just overall the views just weren't there. And when I was like, this is not the result that I wanted. And then I was like, if they're not going to watch, I'm not going to do them. And then when I take a little break, it's like, well, now people are watching. And like, I've only done like one video in the past like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And previously I would have been like super concerned about not having something up. Or like, I've got this pile of toys that need to be reviewed. I've kind of gotten away from the idea that I have something, it needs to be reviewed because it's impossible to do it all.
Okay.
It's just, you just can't.
Yeah.
Certainly not at like, I don't want to sound stupid saying this, at the level that I collect. Like I just can't. I can't review it all.
Right.
I like when I like if I get a Mythic Legions all in order, like that is a full like 2 weeks of nonstop videos if I were going to do all of those. And like I couldn't get to all of the Alithia and the Deluxe Legion builders. I couldn't do them.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that there was just a bunch of other stuff that came in at the same time. Or like somebody sends me something, and then in those cases I'm like, I need to do these. versus something that I
Right.
bought.
Right.
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 So there's that kind of challenge of like doing videos for companies that send me stuff versus the stuff that I'm just buying on my own.
No, yeah, and I think like one, the consistency, but then I think again, you know, the name association that some of us in the toy community, we associate certain reviewers with certain lines, and it goes back to your point, like you really show what lines you're really into. You show them by buying their products, showing the support, but then even having them on. Like, I mean, for when I really started getting into Super 7, like you're my guy to go to watch the reviews. You've had Brian Flynn, you've done some interviews with them. Like anything Thundercat related, TMNT, I was like, especially me jumping into Super 7, I asked Nate because he had Super 7 before I did, but then I was always going to your video, or sometimes I'm like, fuck, like he hasn't uploaded this one. And then like the very next week it was up there. I'm like, all right, cool. Now I know whether to get it or not. So I think you've definitely like, I don't know, to me, my takeaway was like, and I think from a subscriber's point of view, it's like we don't know some of this stuff, but the focus from my experience is like the focus has always been there. Where it's I'm like, damn, ToyBro is really focused on. I'm gonna review what I like, and you guys are gonna get it without all the extra fluff. And as a viewer, I really enjoyed that. Where I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
now,
where I've sort of like boiled it down to. Like
yeah,
and it seems kind of counterintuitive because I'm reviewing stuff that I kind of expect I'm going to like. Like I don't buy this stuff
right,
because I want to hate it. Like it's
Right.
an action
Yeah.
figure. Like I don't want
Yeah.
to hate these things. When some of these
Right.
toys aren't as great, sure, I'm gonna gripe about it. But like I'm buying
Yeah.
them because I want to like them.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not in this hobby just because I want to be on YouTube. That's
right,
trust me,
right,
the money
right.
ain't there. So it's not a lucrative business to be a toy reviewer.
Yeah,
Right.
So it's like I want to be positive about these things. And you're only generally going to see the stuff that I actually want to have in my collection. There's
yeah,
plenty of other stuff I buy, but it's like I don't have time for some of that stuff. I don't
Yeah,
have time to
yeah.
review every single Black Series figure anymore. I don't have time to review every single Marvel Legends figure anymore. And at that point, I think people have kind of come to expect certain things
Yep.
from my channel. Like I collect a lot of Mezco stuff, but I don't really review them.
Yeah.
People aren't coming to me for that. People go to D Amazing for that. And, I understand that. Like I do a few,
Right.
if it's something I'm really excited about, like I reviewed Conan when he came out because I was super excited for him, pumped for Conan. And I got a surprisingly large amount of views on that, but it's a very few and far between when I do that. I'm definitely known for reviewing Turtles. I'm definitely known for pretty much anything Super 7. People are going to come to me for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Figure art stuff, things like that. There's a certain things that I think I'm associated with at this point, whether I wanted it to happen or not.
Right.
Kind of how it played out, just because of
Yeah.
where I focused on the things that I like.
Yeah. No, and I think it resonates with your audience. Like, me being a constant lurker where I'm like, oh, what is something up? It's something new, like, or something new coming from Super 7 when you've done your interviews with them, or even having the Hasbro team on there. It's just, again, it's really informative where I'm anticipating on kind of the expectations there where it's already something that I'm signing up for. So, I mean, I appreciate the consistency where it's just like, I'm going to give you guys something that I'm already collecting and I like it, not just something to add to your cart.
Yeah, I'm far past the point of just reviewing anything that just happens to cross my path. It's not fun. Like that's really what it came down to. It's not fun. Like I got to the point where I was reviewing I don't remember what it was, but there was one figure in particular. I just can't remember. I can't remember it, but I remember like the time period. Like when I was reviewing stuff to try to find things to review that like were different. I'm like, this sucks. Like I don't want to do this.
Yep.
And it wasn't that the figure was bad. It's just not exciting. Like I've got other stuff that I could definitely be far more excited about. And if I don't like the figure, it's going to come through in the video and I'm going to be super negative. I'm not going to be engaged. I'm just going to, here's the figure. It does this, blah, blah, blah. It comes with all this crap. And then no one wants to watch that. I mean, I know there's a huge subset of people that want to watch people be negative about stuff, but I can't film that. I can't do that.
Right. Yeah.
No, I don't want to be trashing a toy that just because I don't like it doesn't mean, I need to be spouting a bunch of negativity on it on the internet.
Well, and I think, for me, you come across as very just honest. Like, this is my opinion. And, you'll get a figure that you start the video like, I'm really excited about this, but there are some things that kind of really disappointed me too. So that keeps me engaged. I'm like, okay, I want to see what is it that he doesn't like about it. But I think you've got this established persona now that, like, I know you're giving yourself, stress about not being as consistent with your videos, but they're not coming to you, all the time just for like, oh, what's he going to post tomorrow? What's he going to post tomorrow? It's like, I want to see what ToyBro has to say about this, So I think investing in the stuff that you like and the stuff that you're going to be passionate about makes a lot more sense to me. And there's a lot of YouTubers out there. So if you were posting every day, I wouldn't be able to keep up with you,
Right. And that was kind of where that's where it stopped. Like I was for a while doing like a daily video. And not only was it hard for people to keep up, it was hard for me to do that. Like it's a lot of time. I mean, I only review at night because I have a daughter. She's running around screaming her head off. I can't record when you can hear her coming through the floor, so I'm not going to have that in the background. And so I'm up late when I'm filming. I don't get done until like midnight usually. And then I have to work in the morning. So it's like, if I'm going to do it, it's going to be something that I actually want to enjoy doing. And I mean, I review stuff that people don't usually care about. I review a lot of Gundam stuff. And like, I know people don't come to me for that, but I absolutely love it. So I want to review it because it's one of the main ways that I actually like play with these toys is to review, is to do that. It's like just part of my routine with them. It's like, if I really want this thing, I am going to sit down and I'm going to film it. I don't care if you watch it or not. It's going to be on the channel.
Yeah, and it seems like you still get pretty consistent viewers, for a lot of your videos where you'll post something and you still get a lot of views on it. Because I think people are, like I said, they're just coming to see what you have to say about it. And you brought up a good point about like, I buy stuff that I want. That makes a lot of sense to me, but you see people posting on, maybe not you specifically, but I've seen it on other reviewers, like, why are you so positive? Like, well, I'm collecting things that I like. What do you want me to do?
When people say that, I'm like, do you buy toys that you don't want?
Yeah.
Right. Like, why are you
It doesn't
doing
make any sense.
I can understand if you're like, dipping your toe into the line and you want to, if you don't like it, that's one thing. I wanted to try this line out. I didn't care for it. I'm going to move on. But I mean, I buy all of these lines. At this point, it's pretty obvious I like them. I mean, I'm not buying Mythic Legions because I want to see how they are anymore. I've been buying them for 6 or 7 years now. They're one of my favorite lines. They're consistently great. It's hard to be really negative about something like that.
That's true.
But if there's a problem, sure, I'm gonna like call it out, but I'm also not gonna just be rude about it either. Like, here's a problem. It could have been fixed, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not a toy engineer. I don't have all the answers.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, because oh man, there's so many people that act like they know exactly what they're talking about and, suggesting things that this company should be doing.
Knowing enough people in the industry has made me realize I know nothing about how toys are created.
Yeah.
Like I understand at a base level, and I would love to know more, but it's a whole industry. It's an art form. It's engineering. Like it's not what people think it is. Like it's sculpting, it's painting. The tolerances on plastic, like there's all sorts of stuff that goes into this, and they're not just slapping things together and throwing them out the door. That's not that. Problems happen. Sometimes the figure is great, sometimes it's not. But most people that are buying figures have no idea what actually goes into it.
No.
Well, here I thought you just sat in your toy room reviewed figures 24/7. You tell me you got a life outside of this? You got a kid? You got a day job? Like that's crazy. I thought you do this 24/7. How dare you?
How dare you?
Weird. ToyBro does not pay the bills. It does not keep the lights on. Yeah.
No, it still amazes me the impression that, again, and we've talked about this a couple of times. We're just, if the passion's not there, like we've taken a couple breaks, or even just like people that have bought in some of the arcades, like they'll pay me, and then like the next day it's like, did you ship it yet? I'm like, I'm not Amazon Prime. I still have a day job. I still have kids to take care of. I'll get to this. You'll get your stuff, but I got a 9 to 5 that I still have to take care of.
Right.
Yeah, it amazes me.
Yeah, and I just have to get this out there, but who's your favorite turtle, Jared?
Leonardo.
Boom.
All right.
Like the only person that matches my favorite. I had to say it in front of Prime because he's like, nobody likes Leo.
Damn it.
I'm like, I know Jared likes Leo. Because Leo's
it was good till then.
Too.
And that's the end of our
he's got swords. He's the leader. I mean, come on. I think it was all the swords. That's all it was. He has swords. He's my favorite.
Oh,
I'm right there with you, man. You don't have to justify it to me, but maybe to Prime and
hey,
some
Raph's
other
the muscle and he
members of
gets
our
the girl.
audience.
Doesn't Raph get the girl and he's the muscle? So
You know, he also got
you
his
can
ass
play with your
kicked
you can
movie,
play with your sword all day long. You can play Snake in the corner all day long.
Oh boy, this could be a whole nother
Yeah.
video here. Of the hate of Leo that I get.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you for that, Jared. What did you think about the Fury toys, Leo?
I really liked it.
Yeah,
I really liked it. I know a lot of people were really bummed by how small he was, but that did not bother me at all.
yeah, I think they're
It's cool.
great.
I thought it was kind of cool to have a little tiny turtle.
Mm-hmm.
I know it probably would have been better if we knew exactly how small he was before we bought him, because they didn't really advertise that very well. But
No,
I think he's pretty great. Probably needs a thigh swivel, but otherwise, pretty great.
yeah, it's like the one thing that's maybe lacking, or some kind of like, I know he's got the upper torso, but it'd be nice if he had some kind of lower hip too.
Yeah.
But he's so small, it'd be hard to do
He's got all the same problems that every other turtle figure has. They have a shell. There's always going to be
True.
some sort of weird hindrance there.
Yeah.
I don't think
That is
anybody's
the
figured
truth.
out how to do it except for Playmates when they cut the turtles in half and put a diaphragm cut there, and what looks awful. So
Right. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you have a favorite turtle line? Like out of
Ultimates.
Ultimates?
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's the nostalgia aspect of it. I mean,
Yeah.
Playmates turtles were my first big toy line that I, I guess knowingly collected, that I was aware of going to the store and buying them. So to have modern versions is just exciting.
Right.
But I mean, I really like that. I mean, I buy all the NECA stuff too. The movie turtles are probably a really close second just because of how perfect they are, basically. I mean, they're about as close to accurate as you're ever going to get.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think NECA is where I really started getting invested in the turtle stuff. So for me, that's kind of like my bread and butter, but I still try to dabble in other stuff. I just don't maybe go as heavy like on Super 7 or some of the other third party. And then I see this Mezco. I'm like, do I really need a set of turtles? Another set? No, but do I want them? Yes.
Right.
You can't stop with turtles.
I definitely don't need another set of turtles.
No.
I could pull down like 6 different teams, just like reach over and grab them. And it's like, I don't need another one there.
Right.
But also don't need them. So
yeah, it's just so hard to resist when you do see them. So I'm right there with you, Jerry.
And then I'll regret it if I don't. If they somehow sell out and they're amazing, I will.
Yep.
I mean, I would never forgive myself. So.
Yeah, that would be awful to miss out on something like that too, especially for you. I'm sure you're like, no, you're kicking yourself for years down the road.
It would be another major regret. Yeah.
When we visit ToyBro's room, we're gonna be like, oh, I see you don't have that figure right there, which came out in this 1 year, and
it's probably the rudest.
Just point out all the figures. Yeah, point out the figures. I see you
I'll
don't
just
have
leave
the
a hole for everything I'm missing one day.
Yeah,
There'll be a nice little dust spot there.
Right.
That's funny. Man.
Well, for everybody listening, like we talked about, if you are not subscribed to Jared, you're really missing out on some quality content. So you need to go subscribe to him on YouTube. His name is ToyBro. He's also on Instagram at ToyBro. You're on Twitter as well, right, Jared?
Yes.
Okay.
Twitter, Instagram, all the socials.
Awesome. Yeah, so go follow him, go support him. If you have not checked out his videos, maybe put a comment down there and tell him what you think about it. But we're not done with you yet, Jared. We want to talk about dig into what we call the Dirty Dozen, which is 12 rapid fire rounds of random figure companies. And we want to get your opinion because out of a lot of the people we've had on, you're probably one of the most experienced as far as different lines, things that you like, things that you don't like. So we'd love to hear your thoughts about it. So let's get into it and do the Dirty Dozen. Okay, pull this up. All right, Jared. Round 1 here.
Here we go.
We're going to start with a banger. Super 7. What's one thing that comes to your mind when you think of Super 7?
Nostalgia. Instantly.
They nail it. Yeah.
Yep.
Thundercats.
It's my childhood made again, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Everything
getting
I
sign?
collected as a kid in a modern toy
you-
line.
You getting Silverhawks as well? I'm sure you are.
Oh yeah, I'm very, very curious to see them in person. I have some concerns.
Yeah, I've seen some. I think it was. I don't know if you were there or not, but I know some people posted some shots of the most recent. What was it? PowerCon? I
Moonstar?
can't remember where it was. They're showing
Uh,
prototypes. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was
I know
PowerCon.
what you're talking about, but I can't remember what show they were at.
Yeah, I think the big concern that I heard a lot of people talking about was the paint. You know, just the paint's not coming out like they thought.
Yeah, there's been the whole discussion about the paint on the armor and how it's supposed to have some unique property, and like it doesn't come through in anybody's pictures, but from what I've heard from people that work at Super 7, it does. And then the faces look rough, to say the least.
And I know
And they're
you got the
super delayed
worst.
again, as usual.
Yeah, you got those worst figures, and you weren't entirely happy with those either. You know, so hopefully it's just it was a production snafu, maybe with COVID and having to switch production. I don't know. Like I said, we don't make toys. I don't want to assume. But yeah, if there's one nostalgia line that you wish Super 7 would do, what would it be?
Cops and Crooks. Do you remember that line?
Yes.
Oh yes, I
Hells
think
yeah.
Prime mentioned that once before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved those figures. I loved them so much. They had the cap gun caps in their weapons.
Yep.
And if they could figure out a
that.
way to bring that back, but I think Hasbro owns that. So well, they do everything else Hasbro. So they do have a Hasbro license. So I think it was a Kenner thing. So it's a Hasbro thing now.
Yeah.
They own everything.
Brian
Give me
Flynn,
a bulletproof and
if
like
you're
boom
listening.
boom.
Cops. That would be cool. All right, moving on. Marvel Legends.
Marvel Legends. Extensive is the first word that comes to mind. I mean, they take up a huge amount of shelf space for me.
Yeah, that's
but I mean, it's
a very good word for them.
It's a Hallmark toy line, though. I mean, it's been around forever.
And this last year was really cool for you for Marvel Legends, right? You got to review your favorite Marvel character, Speedball.
That was exciting. Yeah.
Why Speedball?
Frankly, I can't tell you. I really have no idea. I just love that character. It's just he's stuck with me forever. Like I don't. It's just something from when I was a kid. I read a ton of New Warriors comics, and his costume, his powers, the goofy ball thing that he does with all of that. It's just weird. I don't know, something about it. I just like it, and like he needs an action figure, and he got one.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know anything about Speedball.
He got an action figure, and yeah,
he's another one I learned from you about. I didn't really know much about the character, and seeing how excited you were, I was like, all right, I got to figure out who Speedball is because I don't know who this guy is.
Reading the comics, having the cards.
Oh man, yep. So he was.
It's a big that's a childhood thing right there, like him, and I can't give you a real concrete answer. It's just. I'm gonna be excited about a Speedball figure, and I was super excited about it. I mean, he didn't even have any accessories, and I'm like, I don't care.
He looks great. I just
need the damn figure.
Yeah, he looked great. I just wish he would have had accessories.
Yeah, but I mean, out of all ones for you to get a first look at, it was cool.
Speedball was awesome.
Yeah, they initially wanted me to do something else in that wave because Speedball is obviously not the draw.
Okay,
but they knew that I really wanted Speedball, so they let me do him instead. I think they wanted me to do the Iron Man that they gave to E. Rivera because they were in the same wave, and I think that was the original plan, is to have me do Iron Man.
Yeah,
but then I guess Dan and Ryan pulled some strings and got me Speedball instead.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. Definitely been listening to you. You know, like we got to get this guy Speedball.
The first time I ever interviewed them, that was like my last question to them: is what was your most wanted Marvel Legends figure? And I was like, mine is Speedball.
Yeah.
And no, they were like, why do you want a Speedball? I'm like, I don't know. Just make one.
That's cool though.
And they put him on the body that I wanted. I mean, everything about him except for accessories was exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. The costume came out, the deck on him came out great. He looks awesome.
Head looks good. The goggles are great. The deco on him looks good. I'm sure the deco is the reason why we didn't get any extra hands, because that has to be complicated deco. But
They
Well,
could have
and the
thrown some of these in, just these little bubbles. Throw
And
these
those,
in there.
I think I said that when I reviewed them. Like they could have thrown some of those in, but they don't really show his power.
No,
The
that they
only, I
don't.
mean, I got those can of beams effects.
Yeah, that's
and
those.
they're perfect.
Yeah.
They're exactly what I wanted. And Hasbro would never make those because you'd
No.
never be able to reuse them. So
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's cool. It's a cool story though. Awesome to see you get the chance to do that. All right, NECA.
turtles. That's
Turtles.
the first thing I'm going to think of with NECA is turtles.
Same with me. Yeah, it's my bread and butter for turtles for sure.
I think he whispered Raphael too. So just
He would
throwing it
never.
out there.
He wouldn't dare.
Absolutely not.
Damn it!
Mythic Legions.
Mythic Legions. Just amazing. I mean, just everything about it. The community, the creators, obviously the finished product itself. I mean, it's a collector's line just for the sake of being toys, you know?
Yeah. You make a good point about the community. You know, I'm part of the Cabal on Facebook, and that's got to be one of the most positive figure groups I've been a part of.
It's the only toy group that I have not left on Facebook. It's the only one because the rest of them are cesspools and I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Just negativity.
Everybody complaining about this, that, prices. I don't like this figure. I don't like that figure. Why are you posting it?
Right. Yeah, I joined, to your point, I joined a Mezco Facebook group at one point, and I had to get out of there because it was just so much negativity. I can't stand that. I'm not coming to social media just to bash other stuff, you know. So Mythic Legions was kind of the Cabal was a breath of fresh air to see so much positivity and everybody just supporting each other, and you know, then you get to meet all those people in person, and they're just as cool as they are.
Right. Yeah, that was a big thing. Is like to meet all these people that I knew by name, or like a lot of people that knew me, but I had no idea who they were, and they knew me because of the channel or because of Mythic Legions. You know, because I got like every 10 steps, someone would stop me and say, "I buy these figures because of your videos." I'm like, I'm so sorry, but you know, it's like all of these people are like so nice, and they just like these figures.
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. The community is rich, I suppose, is a good way to say it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air for sure. SH Figure Arts.
First thing that comes to mind for that is Dragon Ball Z. I mean, that's my focus for figure arts when it comes to collecting. It's one of the things that got me into figure arts. One of my favorite anime series.
Mm-hmm. With DBZ, it seems like they're willing to go a bit deeper now on the line, you know, especially seeing stuff
right
like
now.
GT.
Yeah, they really started to sort of stretch where they're going to go. For the longest time, it was redoing the same figures or same characters over and over and over again. And they've sort of gotten into this groove where now they're doing specific arcs. Like they've done, 12 Namek Saga figures. We've got the entire Ginyu Force.
That's crazy.
We're going to have every Frieza form soon enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've done both dragons at this point. I mean, it's extensive. It's wide reaching. And the figures are better now than they've ever been. Quality control is up. New body styles, new effect parts. Getting into Dragon Ball GT, as whether you like it or not. I mean, it's got some of the craziest designs, and these like hot pink Saiyans look amazing. So,
yeah, I was really surprised when they did the ape Vegeta.
Oh man, I love that thing so much. It's so cool.
It's so
huge. Up a whole detail shelf, but it's amazing.
Wow. Yeah, like what a engineering spectacle that thing is.
And it's like just like every other figure arts too. It's just super big. Yeah, it has all the same articulation.
That's awesome.
Obviously, it doesn't move quite as well because it's so big and chunky, but
huge.
It's so cool.
Yeah, really cool. What's like one character that you hope they bring into it?
From one of the movies, Tapion.
Oh, okay.
Familiar with him? Yeah. He's got like that shock of red hair. He's where Trunks gets his sword from.
Right.
Yeah, I really want him. Cool. I would have said Turles from the Tree of Might movie, but we're getting him finally.
Man, Tree of Might, that was one of my first exposures to Dragon Ball. Was, like that's back in Goku's doing Kaioken stuff. You're like,
right, yeah, that's way before Super Saiyan was a thing. Yeah,
yeah.
Kaioken was it, and you're gonna get yet another Spirit Bomb.
Yep. Spirit Bomb every movie
Spirit Bomb,
until
Kaioken,
until
and
Super
repeat.
Saiyan came out. Yeah, that's so funny. Oh man, you make me want to go watch it again. All right, G.I. Joe. Do you collect
Hasbro's
classified?
best line.
Yeah,
is immediately
hands down.
I mean, they have far and away surpassed everything else, and I'm super surprised, really, that it's become so good.
I was surprised when Classified started. Their figures were already, in my mind, better articulated and better crafted than like Legends.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy that they started so strong and then they're still issuing Legends with these older bucks. You're like, well, you're doing Classified, which is like just astronomical with the price point, what you're getting. So I hope, and I think we've seen it, but I hope they continue to kind of bring that into their other lines, that same level of, engineering.
Yeah, I think this line showed just how divided Hasbro is when it comes to the teams. Like they don't, and I mean, it was pretty obvious anyway. Like they don't share parts. Like you don't see parts from Legends bleed into Black Series, and I'm certain that's a licensing restriction in some way, but you don't see that. You don't see part sharing between lines or any of that. The engineering is different. They don't seem to really seem to work together. Like they're their own thing.
Yep.
Marvel's their own unit. Star Wars is their own unit.
Yeah.
And they're going to do their own things. And, maybe they'll learn from each other, but it doesn't seem like they really share a lot of that. So you see some of like the G.I. Joe and even Power Rangers to the same degree, because they started with their, entirely new with the similar scheme of articulation and engineering, but not the same. And you've seen like it sort of bleed into Legends and Black Series over time. But G.I. Joe's been consistently good. I think that first wave was probably the worst wave at this point because they kind of had those wacky designs.
Yep. Yeah.
But everything, and then they suddenly realized people just want the classic stuff.
Yep.
And now they know, and they're just pumping it out, and they're all great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tons of accessories, great deco, good articulation, endless stuff now too. A
and
super successful
Serpentor,
HasLab, all that.
Yeah, Serpentor was on your top 10, right?
Yeah, Serpentor is so great. It's kind of weird. I really like him so much because he doesn't feel like a G.I. Joe figure. Like he feels like a Legends figure if it was a G.I. Joe figure, because he's so big and
he's
bulky.
huge.
Yeah,
he's really, really big. He's massive. But I mean, everything about that release was just perfect. I was kind of worried he was like going to be too expensive for what we were getting, because he was like $80 or $90 or whatever. But it's like, this is a lot of toy. Like there's a lot of accessories. He's huge.
Yeah.
Soft goods cape, crazy deco, crazy vehicle, the whole thing.
Yeah. It's a good feeling when you feel like you got your money's worth, especially when you're worried about the price going into it.
Right.
Yeah. Mattel.
Masters of the Universe.
You don't like Motu at all. What are you talking about?
I'm not much of a fan. I mean, Motu's up there for me with Thundercats, really. I mean, it's one of those like tentpole brands from my childhood. Even though Motu started before I was even born, like it's like it was a thing. Like it was always on TV. I had the toys. When it came back in 2002 for the new cartoon, the second cartoon, like it took my life over. It was the weirdest thing. Like I graduated high school, and it's like I'm gonna watch this He-Man cartoon now. I'm an adult, but I'm gonna watch this He-Man cartoon. I'm buying all these toys, and like it was an event. Like I'm like, I can't wait for the series premiere. Buying all like the commemorative figures that came out at the time when they reissued all the vintage stuff, buying all the new stuff. It's like, and then classics came out not long after that ended, and you'll be hard pressed for me to say that there's a better line than Motu Classics. I mean, it's probably one of the most extensive lines of toys that's ever been made. So much stuff, multiple play, at least in the modern era anyway. Multiple play sets, vehicles.
Yeah.
Just huge depth of character selection.
Yeah, Prime, you got, is that the He-Man that you got, or am I thinking of a different one?
The 40th anniversary
40th anniversary, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the Masterverse one?
Yeah.
Yeah, really delivering on Motu stuff. So it's cool to see that line has continued to get so much support over the years. You know, it's like Motu is one of those things that from starting collecting up until now, I don't think I've ever not seen at least some type of Motu figure offered from some company or another. So it's cool that it continues to come back.
It's been consistently back for about 20 years now, whether people know it or not. Like it hasn't really gone away for a long time.
Right.
And Motu fans are insane
ravenous
too. They are just, they'll buy anything.
Right.
Like the really hardcore Motu fans will literally just buy anything if it has He-Man on it. It's nuts.
Yeah, I mean it's a rabid fan base, that's for sure. Mezco. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is soft goods, but that's obvious, right? That's obvious. But I mean, the thing that comes to mind first is figures I buy that I don't ever take out of the box. I have so many Mezco figures that I've never even opened. Really? Just from lack of interest or like the
it's accessory
not even lack thing?
Of like I get them and then it's like, what the hell am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
But it goes back to like when I said like the amount of accessories that they come with is daunting. Like it really is. Like I open a box and like I opened the what is it? The new Atticus Doom. It's like 1,000 accessories in there. I'm like, I don't have time. I don't have time for this. Like I don't have time to take stock of all of these. So I'm just going to look at him real quick. I'll take a little picture of him. I'll make him glow in the dark. And then he's going to go back in his box until I can figure out what to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the way ToyBro counts accessories. You said 36 head sculpts for the pink skulls. Oh, Atticus Doom, 1,000 accessories.
1,000 accessories. On the same wavelength.
I love it.
Open this box and it's like here's like 14 accessories here. He's got 19 hands right here. Here's another tray. If you dig deep enough, there's another hidden tray in the false bottom of the box. Like there's just accessories everywhere. At some point, it becomes too many for me.
Yeah. It does get overwhelming. That's
part of the reason why I don't really review them either, is because it takes too long.
2-hour video.
It's like it takes so long to review a Mezco figure because it's like here's a hand, here's 19 effects. He's got a scarf.
I mean, to your point, I've had to buy.
He's got a kerchief. He's got all this stuff, you know.
Yeah, I've had to buy all these different little like storage bins for accessories because there's just too much. So now I've just started leaving them in the box. Like I don't want this accessory. I'm not interested in this one. I'm just going to leave it where it is. That way I can find it later. Because some of my original ones that I'm trying to sell now, I'm missing like maybe 2 batarangs or a left hand or something.
You just lost 50% of the value right there. It's incomplete.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, that's true though, because you go online or you tell somebody it's missing a hand, they no longer want anything to do with it.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm gone." Yeah, I need that one hand.
Right. Tamashii Nations.
When I think of Tamashii Nations broadly, I think of Gundam.
Yeah.
Model kits.
I was going to ask if you do the model kits.
Robot spirits. I do some. I mean, I buy them. Do I build them? I have some. Maybe like once a year, I'll sit down and build one.
That's definitely a time investment. You know,
I used to be really heavy in the model kits. Like late 90s, early 2000s, when they were not easy to find. Like when Toonami was big and like Gundam Wing was on, and you could maybe find model kits at like your local hobby store, or and then Toys R Us started getting them for a little while.
Yeah.
But that's when I discovered HLJ, and I'm like, oh, I'll wait 3 months and this package will finally show up. Yeah, I couldn't afford expensive shipping.
Oh, so you're doing like the airmail
on a Japanese website.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I remember, I think a Gundam model kit I did way back in middle school. You know, really kind of surprised me, like what you could do with it, and it didn't seem like a toy at the time. But now I go back, I'm like, that kind of was, but it was also sort of an experience seeing how it's all built.
Yeah,
how
building it is more fun for me than the finished product usually.
Exactly, because once it's finished, you're like, I don't even want to touch it.
Yeah,
like,
I tend to not. I just sort of do. I'll put it on a shelf,
right,
or put it back in the box.
Yeah. All right. Third-party lines.
Third-party lines. Not something I get into. That's what comes to mind. I don't dabble much in third-party stuff.
Just more.
Obviously, I do some because I got that little turtle, but
right.
I just don't. It's mostly like I try not to spread myself that thin.
Right. You're already collecting a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's not for a lack of interest. It's just, do I need all this stuff that Prime is posting? All these devil toys thing, like that Vader thing that you posted today. Not Vader, whatever he is. Certainly looks like Darth Vader to me, but
Yeah, the Ghost of Kurosawa, I think.
that, yeah.
That one? Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah,
looks
it's
awesome. But I'm like, I know I would never do anything with it. So like, I just
right. It's good that you recognize that though, because then you don't have stuff that's
I bought
just sitting
some
around.
stuff. Like I've got some stuff that like I know if it's like, if you're familiar with Yu Yu Hakusho, that anime. Familiar with that?
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It was on around the same time on like Toonami and Adult Swim, but it's like it's a show that's probably, I don't know if it's ever going to get an actual licensed figure line. And there was a company that made the 4 main characters last year, and so I bought those just because I expect they're probably never going to be made. There doesn't seem to be any interest in company making them. So maybe in those kind of situations I'll get stuff, but like I try not to buy them just if it's some third party thing that just looks cool.
Yeah, you got to have some kind of interest there. Just smart to avoid buying stuff that you don't want.
Right.
All right. And last but certainly not least, unless you're talking to other maybe collectors that aren't a fan of the line, but McFarlane Toys.
No.
No.
Just
not
no.
a Tiny Mac supporter. It's fairly common, unfortunately.
I tried.
Yeah, I did too. I've collected a couple of them. I've got this armored Dark Side, which as soon as I took it out of the box, his bicep fell off, and it's never really been the same since. But,
like I got the first couple, like I got the first Batman and the first Superman that he made when the line started. It's like, these are figures. And that was about it. And I got a couple others, and then I ended up selling them. And I've got like those like weird like armored Batman and armored Superman. They look like
open up the
mechs.
wings.
Yeah. Like I don't know what they are, but they look cool. They move awful, and they just sort of stand there. I have those, and I got like the Kickstarter spawn, which in hindsight was probably a mistake.
I thought I would have mine displayed somewhere. It's still in its shipper, like in my.
I opened mine and I reviewed them, and it was a weird review because I was like happy but also not happy with him.
Yeah.
It was like a 30-minute video by the time I was done with it. They are in their boxes in the garage right now.
Yep.
Yeah, and speaking of figures not to buy on retail, wait for clearance on McFarlane.
Yeah, those lines are nuts. But he apparently has a Turtles line coming, so we'll see.
Cheap vehicles. I mean, during Christmas
super curious to see what he's going to do with a turtle.
That Batmo Beast was like $20 on Walmart.
$25 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, very cheap.
Something crazy.
Yeah. All right, well there you have it, folks. Jared's or Toy Bros opinion on 12 different lines. Hopefully you guys heard something that maybe piqued your interest, or it's always good to hear somebody else's opinion, especially somebody like you, Jared, that is so active in the collecting community and just what you collect and having a lot of insight into those different figures. So just want a huge thank you to you, Jared, for being a guest. It's great talking to you, being able to pick your brain. Like I said, we've been longtime fans. We'll continue to be longtime fans. Hopefully you guys learned something from Jared here, or if you had never seen Jared before, go subscribe to him on YouTube at ToyBro. Like I said, he's on Instagram at ToyBro. He's on Twitter at ToyBro. Anything else you'd like to plug, Jared, before we let you go?
I don't have anything else to plug. That's it.
All right.
You got the greatest hits right there.
Great. Well, I hope to see you next year at Legions Con, or this year, I should say. We're in 2023
Oh, yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks again, Jared. It was great having you on.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right.
Oof, what a talk. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you guys did, remember, smash the like. Tell us what your takeaway was. How big of a fan of ToyBro are you? What's your favorite video?
Make sure you guys
what do you want to see more
hit that like button. Leave a comment below. What are some of the things that you like that ToyBro does on his videos? Let's hear from it. Let us hear from you. And if you guys are not subscribed to the Figure Booth, make sure that you subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss when we post new episodes or go live for Motivation Monday. And of course, if you want an arcade or you want to support Prime, get his budget diodes, you can go to prime-arcade.com to pick those up.
Yep.
And Prime, where can they find you?
You can find me all under Prime to the First on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
You guys can find me at figurefan_Nate on Instagram, Vero, and Facebook. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.
Till next time, guys.